Hello, welcome aboard. Today we're going to be looking into how to draw and how to paint water. I mean, water on the sea and reflections. Now, as you know, water is incredibly complex to draw and to paint because it's mercurial, it's always changing, it obviously reflects, it's a mirror effectively. So this is just a primer, if you will, for more advanced lessons that are going to be coming in future, vis-a-vis boats, sea, anything vaguely aquatic, all those things that I love. So yeah, I want you to put a tie on for this. It's really important. And let's get cracking. So today I'm going to be doing this demonstration using this pad. Now, so you may recognize this. I've talked about this before. This is a piece of my artwork that is used on the front of this mixed media art pad made in the UK by Calder Art Supplies. So it's really nice to see, you know, one of my pieces of artwork on the front of that. Super cool. So just while I'm constructing this, I could be talking to you a little bit about this paper. First impressions are it's very good. It certainly is thick, 300 GSM, so you're not going to get a lot of bleed through anything. The quality, the white is a lovely white. I do like a white and not necessarily an ivory white necessarily, but that's very good. So yeah, first impressions, it's very good. Ah, you ow! Metal ruler to the toes! Ah, you So we're going to break this down really into sort of first principles. Now, if you think of water as having two values. Now, what I mean by that is when you look at the water, say you imagine it in black and white, there is one bit where it's reflective, where it works like a mirror, and there's another bit where it becomes semi-transparent and you can actually see into the water. So it's all about the angle of viewing. So if you imagine that you have these waves here, this chap here, Geoff, he's looking out to sea, he's trying to figure out how to draw water and reflections. Well, this bit here that faces towards Geoff, let's just say it's this whole half of the wave here. Now, if Geoff is looking at that bit, what he's going to see is a semi-transparent layer. So that is going to appear darker. So let me just draw a little cross section in there. So this side of the wave looks dark. And the back of the wave there will look transparent. And the same with this. This will look dark. Like that. So that's just a really simple idea of this part here will be that faces towards Geoff. So this is a mirror here, and that's going to be white, or shiny in this case. And this is see-through. Not see-through, that's the wrong thing, isn't it? This is transparent. So that's going to be dark. So you have light, dark. There we go. That needs a T on. So how does that work when you get further and further away from your subject? Because you're just looking at two waves there. Well, this is tiny Geoff here, and he's looking at the big sea. So what you're going to get here is you're going to get dark. And then you've got another wave here that you're looking over the top of. And then you're going to get a dark bit. And again, it's all just that side of the wave, that part of the wave that faces Geoff there. So now, as things get further away, they become smaller. Now, this isn't anything to do with rendering a trick of the light or anything. This is just literally things get smaller as they get further away. So the dark bit on the wave is going to actually appear smaller. So if you imagine how that actually looks in reality when you're literally looking out to sea, I can show you how that's going to look. Okay, so how that's actually going to be represented is when you're up close. So this band of dark is this band here, and then you have another one, and that's that bit. and then another one here, and then another one. And as you get further back, they not only do they get closer together, but they also get smaller, those bands. Now, so if you have a perfect sea that it's just rolling in like that, you're going to get these perfect reflections. But the reality is, it doesn't actually look like that. So how does it actually look in reality? Well, this is where you can add in your own artistic sort of vibes. So you're going to be looking at the sea, and further away, what you might find is they do something like this. There is some different shapes, you know. Just look at the ocean and see what different shapes you have. And as it gets closer, you might find that often I tend to think of like points, figures of 8 almost, like that. So doing something like that. And then this wave here could be maybe something like that. And again, you know, I have no point of reference. When it comes to sort of drawing seas, you know, as you practice, you will get better at looking at the shapes and thinking, oh, that's that shape, or that's that shape. And then really up close, it's going to be more like a solid block. But that said, you can add in, you know, some of these kind of pointy bits. And again, this isn't the right way. This is just sometimes the way that I've done it in the past to break up those shapes. So what happens is, if it's more windy and the waves, even though they are coming in one wave, they're more broken up, you'll find it's a little bit more like that. So the white is the reflection of the sky, and the dark is the sort of transparent part. So I hope that makes sense. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do an actual example with a boat in to give you a real idea of how that actually looks in reality. So there's our sailing boat at sea. So what's Geoff going to see if he's sitting here? Well, we already know that there's going to be some dark lines on this side of the wave. And they're going to be here because that's the transparent bit of the wave that faces towards our artist here. There's going to be white in between. But what you're also going to get is on top of the wave here, you're going to get a sort of mirror of the boat. And that's mainly going to be on this top bit of the wave. But it's the same on all of them, so the same thing applies. So what you have effectively is, if we just give that a value, so let's just say that's grey, black on there. Now, you will see that you can actually add that to this part. So now, what you'll have in the middle is, if you have your boat here, you'll have some light grey bits, and then obviously I'm adding them in as black here. But you'll have, and they will get slightly bigger and then smaller again as you come forward. So they might do something like that. So let's draw what that actually looks like in sort of real life then. Okay, so there's our two yachts. They are basically meant to be the same. They don't look identical, I know. So, as I said before, we have the smaller waves towards the back. So we could put those in here. I'll just do like 3. Like that. Then as we get further forward, they become bigger. And they also get further apart. So we'll do it like that. So we could put those lines in here, can't we? So we know these are thin here. Oh, that's kind of in the wrong place, doesn't matter. Well, you get the idea. So this is your perfect sea, as I said before, with absolutely no curviness or wind or anything on it. It's just your perfect evening sea. Now, there's going to be no reflection. Obviously, once you get behind the boat, these are going to be really close together, like that. But theoretically, under the boat, you may have a little bit of a wave here, like that. And you might see a little bit of the sail. Notice I'm leaving a tiny little white line in between the two just to slightly differentiate. And then what you're going to get here is you're going to get a little bit of reflection, like that. And then here you'll get a little bit of reflection, like that. And so on and so forth. So that's what it looks like on a completely flat sea. Now, the reality is quite different when you actually see it in real life, because what you have back here is a lot more dots, a lot more uneven lines. And then again, this sort of broken shapes. And what you can do is go heavy and then light, pressing light and then heavy, like you would if you were using a brush. And again, you're doing blobby and even shapes, and as you get further forward, they become even more sort of amorphous and like that. And then even further forward again, you might have this kind of thing. So what does that actually look like for the boat? Well, the boat's the same. I mean, you probably again have some reflection directly under the boat, depending on the direction of the waves and such. But here, this is going to be a lot more similar to these waves that are around it, and then you're going to have something more, again, larger here in terms of that reflection, and then here you might have something like that, again, a little bit bigger. So we do have this perspective in the waves, and that is one of the most important things when it comes to sketching water, I think, and reflection, is just to be aware of how that actually works. Now, water is a mercurial beast. Flat water is very different to how you see rough water, but this is one of the basic tenets, I think, and particularly if you're a keen sketcher and you're wanting to do some almost like rough line work, expressive drawing, and it's a really good thing just to keep in mind, to keep in your head whenever you're doing water. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now, I think what I might do now for my patrons is I might try and do a bit more of a boaty sketch here. And I'm just going to go for it, and potentially I might mess up, I might not, but we'll see. So I like that. If anybody would like this piece of artwork, I am more than happy to send it out to you. All you have to do is put a comment below and say, I love this and I want it. And then what I'll do is I'll choose somebody at random after a couple of weeks and then get your address and I'll send it out to you. How's that? So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll send you back to the other geezer. Bye-bye. So I hope you enjoyed that. That sort of breakdown of water and reflections and the little demo piece. Obviously the demo piece here is being sped up a little bit for you YouTubers. The full version is on Patreon. So like, subscribe, and play. Have some fun and play with that. It's all about just experimenting and getting messy and not really worrying too much about what's right or wrong. One of the lovely things about this technique is it is just a case of being free and being loose and not worrying too much. So have a play, have an experiment, and ahoy ahoy. Was it Alexander Graham Bell? The first thing he said was ahoy ahoy.